So I don't think I introduced myself the first time. So my name is Esther. I'm one of the leaders here at Ebby Church, and I also didn't say help yourself to tea and coffee and cake whenever you want during the evening. Toilets, you can go out that door to the right or that door to the left. So yeah, sorry I didn't mention that at the beginning. So on Thursdays for this term, our theme is the Bible greatest hits. And I might say, Esther, what is that? Isn't the whole Bible a great hit? But what we're going to do is have a look at bits in the Bible that we might come across in everyday life. So maybe in a school assembly, at a wedding, funeral, other kind of life events. We can come across bits of the Bible in some surprising, in good ways and not so good ways, places. So Carolyn started us off a couple of weeks ago covering the whole Bible. So I recommend if you go onto our website on our Thursday gathering page, you can we film the talk, so go back and have a look. Yeah, some really, really great stuff in that. And so this is some bits that Carolyn covered. So what is the Bible? Just a quick buzz through of that. So it's not simply one book, books within a book, lots of different authors, lots of different types and styles of writing. And some of the beliefs that we have about the Bible, that God communicates in some way through it. It tells us something about God, humans, and the relationship between God and humans. And yeah, Carolyn shared this quote a couple of weeks ago, which has really stuck with me, and I feel like I need to spend a lot more time with it and kind of, mull it over a bit. It says, the Bible tells us the story of God's relentless determination to make a home for humans and to dwell in it with us. I love that, that's really cool. So keep that in mind. And so today, as we have said already, we're going to have a little look at creation. So we're going to look at Genesis, the first book in the Bible, and the first 2 chapters of that book in the Bible. And whether you know the Bible well or not, whether you have been in church for a while or never before today, quite a well-known line at the start of the Bible. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And why this stuff might be known and talked about outside of a church kind of context, often talked about in debates around science and religion. How did the world start? Where did we come from? All of those, huge questions. And this evening we're not going to take it all on. I'm not going to give you a load of answers. I'm going to hopefully throw some things out there that we can talk about together. But yeah, just encourage you to go away and have a think on this stuff. Talk to people you know. So unlikely to have answers, but hopefully some good chat. So we'll start by we're going to read Genesis chapter 1 and the start of chapter 2. If you've got a Bible, you can follow along. I'm going to read it from my phone. There's Bibles in front of you as well. So this is the first chapter of Genesis and a bit of the second. This is what it says. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw that the light was good. Then he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness night. And evening passed, and morning came, marking the first day. Then God said, "Let there be a space between the waters to separate the waters of the heavens from the waters of the earth." And that is what happened. God made this space to separate the waters of the earth from the waters of the heavens. God called the space sky. And evening passed and morning came, marking the second day. Then God said, Let the waters beneath the sky flow together into one place so dry ground may appear. And that's what happened. God called the dry ground land and the waters seas, and God saw that it was good. Then God said, let the land sprout with vegetation, every sort of seed-bearing plant and trees that grow seed-bearing fruit. These seeds will then produce the kinds of plants and trees from which they came. And that is what happened. The land produced vegetation, all sorts of seed-bearing plants and trees with seed-bearing fruit. Their seeds produced plants and trees of the same kind, and God saw that it was good. Evening passed, morning came, marking the third day. Then God said, let lights appear in the sky to separate the day from the night. Let them be signs to mark the seasons, days and years. Let these lights in the sky shine down on the earth. And that is what happened. God made two great lights, the larger one to govern the day and the smaller one to govern the night. He also made the stars. God set these lights in the sky to light the earth, to govern the day and night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. Evening passed, the morning came, marking the fourth day. Then God said, let the waters swarm with fish and other life, let the skies be filled with birds of every kind. So God created great sea creatures and every living thing that scurries, I love that word, and swarms in the water, and every sort of bird, each producing offspring of the same kind. And God saw that it was good. Then God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, let the fish fill the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth. Evening passed, morning came, marking the fifth day. Then God said, let the earth produce every sort of animal, each producing offspring of the same kind, livestock, small animals that scurry along the ground, and wild animals. And that is what happened. God made all sorts of wild animals, livestock, and small animals, each able to produce offspring of the same kind. And God saw that it was good. And then God said, let us make human beings in our image, to be like us. They will reign over the fish in the sea, the birds of the sky, the livestock, all the wild animals on the earth, and the small animals that scurry along the ground. So God created human beings in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. Then God blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and govern it. Reign over the fish in the sea, birds in the sky, and all the animals that scurry along the ground. Then God said, look, I have given you every seed-bearing plant throughout the earth, and all the fruit trees for your food. I have given every green plant as food for all the wild animals, the birds in the sky, and the small animals that scurry along the ground, everything that has life. And that is what happened. Then God looked over all he had made, and he saw that it was very good. And evening passed, and morning came, marking the sixth day. This is on to chapter 2. So the creation of the heavens and the earth and everything in them was completed. On the seventh day, God had finished his work of creation, so he rested from all his work. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because it was the day when he rested from all his work of creation. This is the account of the creation of the heavens and the earth. I've never said the word scurry so many times. Next slide. I don't know where you are with science. I'm really, really conscious that we're all very different. Some of us love science. I was a person in science at school who always got sent out of class for playing with the Bunsen burners and the gas taps. It's not who I am. But yeah, as I kind of said at the beginning, this creation, evolution, the Big Bang, dinosaurs, God, time is huge, isn't it? Like there's so much going on here. And for you, this might be a deal breaker on whether you believe in God or not. How does all this stuff fit together? How can I say that I think God created the world, and with all the other sciencey stuff that people say? Is it possible to change your mind? Can you believe in God and science? leaving those questions out there. Let's have a look at the next slide. The context of these two chapters, I think there's some, for me, really interesting stuff in thinking about when were these bits of the Bible written, why were they written, what style are they written in, is it a literal description of a week in the life of God, is it poetic, is it something else? And for me, like the whole of the Bible, this story, the creation story, is really deep. It's challenging, it's controversial, it's life-giving, it's world-changing, all at the same time. And so the chapter that I've just read, Genesis 1, there's a lot of really interesting historical context in relation to that chapter. And the story that it tells is of one God who is there before everything, who speaks light and life, and creates all things that are good. And this poem is written in direct contrast to the Babylonian creation story of the time. And there's a lot more that I could go into about this. It's really interesting. I encourage you to find out more. But the first chapter of Genesis, what we've just read, is very intentionally challenging the dominant culture of the time. So the culture is saying this. The Bible is presenting this version of one God creating things that are good, light and life. And so Genesis 2, we just read a little bit of that, and again I'd encourage you to have a read of the rest of that chapter. But Genesis 2 tells a bit of the creation story again, but it's a bit different, which can be a bit confusing because you read chapter 1 and it's like, well, you're telling me it's like this. You read chapter 2, well, it looks a little bit like this, and you've missed this bit out and that. But Genesis 2, it offers an intimate narrative of creation, and there's no kind of sweeping epic poem, but instead we get to see God down in the muck, God's hands in the mud, God intimately involved in creating humanity. And the author of Genesis 2 is thought to be different to the author of Genesis 1, the second chapter being written 400 years before the first chapter, and making a very different point. And I just kind of throw that stuff out there, mainly to blow my own mind, but that there's so much going on in these first two chapters in the Bible, and behind the words that we read on the page, lots of stuff going on. So yeah, just encouraging us to have a think and dig a little bit deeper, I guess, on that. And so for me, in all this, this is me. As I said, I'm not a sciencey kind of person. I have no problem with God and science being able to exist in the same world. I believe 100% that God created the world. How that happened, how it started, do you know what? For me, it's not a deal breaker. The stuff that we'll talk about in a minute around it is what's a deal breaker. But in saying that, as I said, we're all different. For some people, it is a deal breaker, and you want to dig into the science of stuff, and please do that if that is you. But so for me, so a little bit about my story. So I grew up going to church, became a Christian when I was 4 or 5 years old, and as I became older, a teenager, went to uni, decided that church and God, it wasn't for me. I felt like I could do life a lot better my own way, making my own choices. I felt like God was stopping me having fun. So I was like, nah, you're all right, I'm going to do it my way. And my 3 years at uni, I always say, were the best and the worst years of my life. I had a great time. My mental health was terrible. And yeah, it's taken a lot of recovering in a lot of different ways from my time at uni. But a year after I finished uni, I went travelling around Australia with some of my uni friends. And these pictures, for a start, can we notice that I've taken a picture of actual photos that I had in a photo album, which tells you how old I am, and also that they're panoramic photos. Can you remember when, like, that was, I'm going to take it in panoramic view, and it was the most exciting thing ever, and also faded, but anyway. Yeah, so these are photos I've taken. The top photo is stood at the top of Kings Canyon, which is in the middle of Australia, not far from Uluru, Ayers Rock. And you can see, actually, just there is a couple of my friends. But I can remember stood on top of Kings Canyon, that top photo, looking around and going, oh no, like I can't see any more of creation and not believe in God, or not, you know, like before, up to this point, I'd been scuba diving in the Great Barrier Reef, I'd been in a microlight and seen dolphins in the sea, like it was just everything. The spectacular and the not so, just amazing. And I remember thinking, I can't see everything that I've seen and be where I am and not give God a chance. Because for me, and it's not obviously the same for everyone, but I can't see this and not believe in God. So for me, yeah, creation is a deal breaker, because, like, for me, it's this really specific marker point in my life and me and God and us working out our relationship and all of that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to share that, because I think, like, as I said, we're all different and we all have different experiences, and you don't have to look at creation and go, oh, like, that's amazing, I now believe in God. Like, we see things in so many different ways, and God is so vast and amazing that, yeah, we're all different. So I'm not saying you need to see this stuff and think what I think, but I'm just sharing my bit of my story. Next slide, please, Chris. So, questions that I'm going to ask you to, like, have a chat about. Like, so really, why is this, or what is important? Like, why are we talking about this? And I think there are three things that are really, really cool, really key, and important in this. So, what does the creation story tell us about God? So in what we've read, or what those photos that you shared, yeah, things that we've seen, like, what does the creation story tell us about God? For me, two things that jump out at me is that God is ridiculously creative and has a also ridiculous sense of humour, just because you have to look at animals and us and how we're made and what all that involves. And also, what does the creation story tell us about us and God? Like, we're somewhere in amongst this story. And I think for me there's something about relationship, there's something about an intimacy in that. But yeah, just my thoughts. And also, what does the creation story say about us and the world? And the David Attenborough video touched on that a little bit. I think there's something really important in this, of that God has given us a job to do. When God created the world, there's humans, this is yours, go look after it. We're not doing a great job of that, are we? But yeah, so kind of, what does it say about us and the world? And we'll go with that for now. So is it all right if you, like, just have a think, have a chat? There's was going to say there's no right or wrong answers, or right or wrong feelings in this. Like, let's just encourage you to be honest, have a chat, and then we'll come back together, and there's just one more thing I want to talk about before we close. Is that okay? What should we do? I might see if you want to share anything that you've talked about in a minute, but I don't want to miss out on the Jesus bit. So let's do that.
I forgot I was doing this for a minute.
That's okay. So before on Thursdays we been reading the book of Mark in the Bible, which tells stories about Jesus when he was here living on earth. And you might kind of read creation, those first 2 chapters of Genesis, and think that there's not a lot about Jesus in it, but there is. And so I'm gonna, this is a bit from a book called John, which is in the New Testament part of the Bible. And again, I think we could have spent like hours and hours talking about this, and but I felt like we can't talk about creation without talking about Jesus and without having a read of these particular verses in the Bible. So you can read it, but I'll read it out loud in case the font is a bit small. So it says, in the beginning, the Word already existed. So when it says the Word, talking about Jesus. In the beginning, the Word already existed. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. He existed in the beginning with God. God created everything through him, Jesus, and nothing was created except through him, Jesus. The Word gave life to everything that was created, and his life brought light to everyone. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness can never extinguish it. He came into the very world he created, but the world didn't recognize him. Verse 14, so the Word became human and made his home among us. He was full of unfailing love and faithfulness. This is pretty cool, isn't it? And my mind is already in a blown state. But with this on top, there's just so much going on there. And is there anything, I know I've just read that once, anything that like stands out to anyone in that? It's not a test, just interested. As I read that, anything that kind of smacks you around the face? I hope that this hasn't been frustrating. Well, no, I do kind of hope it has been a bit frustrating. But I hope that it's been a helpful kind of bit of time to think about some of this stuff, and encourage you to keep talking and ask God, like, what's this all about? What are you saying? And I'm pretty sure there'll be something that crops up if you ask that question. I'm going to pray. Our time is kind of done. I'm going to pray. God, thank you that we've been able to have this bit of time this evening. Thinking about creation, the stuff that we see around us in day-to-day life that makes us stop and go, wow. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. And yeah, God, will you help us as we go about the rest of this week and weekend to, do life at the kind of pace where we can notice this stuff, where we can see you in creation around us and see you in people around us. And God, I want to pray that you'll surprise us, that we will see you in unexpected places and people. Will you, give us eyes to see you in those, unexpected places. Jesus, thank you that, we get to read about you in the Bible, being part of creation and, coming to earth in human form to, show us what love looks like. God, this stuff is really big. We all have lots of questions and thoughts. Pray that, as we leave here, that we'll know that you are with us, that you go with us into tomorrow, and will you speak to us and show us, something of you in our days tomorrow. Amen.